Namaskar and welcome to BrightLife NC. We all have a dream of owning a house one day. Owning a house, making it into our home. But owning a house or buying a house is not an easy thing in today's world. But in today's podcast, we do have someone who's been helping thousands of people for the last 15 years in making this dream a reality for them. Let's welcome Rekhshan Hyder, who is a mortgage consultant and has been practicing in the state of North Carolina for the last 15 years. Hi, good morning, Rekhshan. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well.
Happy to be here.
Thank you so much, and thanks a lot for your time and patience. Seriously, thank you so much for that.
No problem. Anytime. Happy to help.
Awesome. So, as I was just saying that, owning buying a house, it's a dream that millions have today. It's not that everybody
Hmm.
still has, a roof on their head. And you've been helping people in this field, to make this dream a reality for so many years now. So let me just
Right.
rephrase what I really want to ask you. Like, how did it all start? Like, being a mortgage consultant, it's such a different profession. So where did the story begin from?
Oh, thank you so much for asking. It feels like yesterday. I've been in financial services before that. I used to work at a bank in Cleveland, Ohio. And then it just so happened we moved here to the area, loved it. We were fortunate enough to be able to buy a home. And after that, met across somebody who was actually a broker. And that was a time that we had to refinance our the home that we had bought. And it just so happened I was like, okay, so what do you do? How does this work? And previously, like I said, I used to work for a bank, and I would refer clients to a mortgage broker, the in-house banker, investment person, and stuff. So that way, I was familiar with the process. I really enjoy working with people, and that's how I was able to get my license back in 2008 and join what was called Tar Heel Mortgage. He was a broker who was able to, who accepted me, trained me. I learned so much from that. And that was just the time that I did not know. In 2008, the mortgage crisis had begun, and most people were actually getting out of the mortgage business when I decided to join. So it was,
Okay. That's
yeah, it
really
was
interesting.
amazing.
Yeah.
And I keep telling, survived that. Yeah. Our mortgage business is wonderful. The gratification that you get to help somebody either buy a house, be it their first home, be it their permanent home, forever home, or be able to refinance to help reduce their payments when the I've seen in the past 15 years several cycles where the rates have dropped, and that just opens up the doors for refinances or being able to help investors invest in North Carolina because it is so affordable.
Awesome. Amazing.
So that's how I joined Tar Heel Mortgage, and one thing led to another, and I now work for Movement Mortgage.
Oh, that's really great. So, and as I was saying, it's such a different profession. You've got a background in finance. You certainly dealt with a lot of money, I'm sure, because finance is all about that, right? But then you could have done anything else. But why there's something related to houses, something related to, that's a dream, I would say.
Right. Um, Being an immigrant, even before I came to the US, I grew up in Saudi Arabia. My parents were there. My father moved there in the 60s. So even before I was born, we were there. And we had a wonderful life. Saudi Arabia gives you a lot, no complaints. But one thing that they call ourselves foreigners, not even immigrants, foreigners are not allowed to do is be able to buy a home.
Oh,
So I could see, yeah, my parents lived there for 40 plus years and they were always renters. No matter what you do, you are not allowed to buy a home or own a property in Saudi Arabia unless you're a Saudi citizen.
irrespective that you
Right.
lived
So it
40
was
odd years.
exactly. We paid
Okay.
somebody else's mortgage all our lives. Yeah. So that was the amazing thing. And you know how buying a house that a family makes, but it changes the outlook. You are building wealth. You are able to call this property. It just gives you that sense of permanency, and it affects the whole family. They have done research and studies where families that owned homes, the kids have a better life, they do better in school, the whole family structure changes. So it just makes you very stable. And that's what I want to provide. We live in a wonderful country where anybody and everybody is able to buy a home as long as you have decent credit, you have a job, and it just builds the foundation for your, wealth building and brings prosperity to the family. So that's why,
Absolutely.
yeah,
So buying a home is just not a financial, I would say it's basically an emotional decision also.
absolutely.
It's basically like the whole family, you sit together. It's not that every day you go, home shopping.
Exactly. Exactly. It's not like grocery shopping where you do this every day. And then there are different stages. We help the first time home buyers who are anxious, making such a big decision. Do they have the money? They're always, asking, questioning the down payment or their qualification. So it's the hand holding that they require. All right, yes, this is what we do. There are so many different loan programs. Let's find the right one that fits your needs right now and today. And things change. I know there are so many talks about interest rates being high. Um, we were spoiled. During the COVID years, the rates were historically low. Nobody had ever seen them or expected them to be this low. But now it is what normally rates have been. We are in the six and sevens, which sounds high because of what we, it's what we compare to. But if you look at historical rates, if you ask anybody who bought a home in the 80s or the 90s, they were as much as 16 to 17%.
All right.
Yeah. It just hurts now because in the Raleigh market, home values have gone up so much that with the higher interest rate, it affects the affordability. So prices have gone up, interest rates are high. So for a family that was able to afford a home up to 450 or 500 is not able to afford that much now.
Oh,
So you got to find the right solution for them.
all right.
Yeah.
And so do you provide your consultations only in the state of North Carolina, or do you have a license for some other state as well?
Currently, I'm licensed in North Carolina and California. But my company is in all 50 states. Like I said, I work on move and mortgage. So if it's somebody whom I can pre-approve and then hand it over to one of my partners who's licensed in another state, we can help them. I've helped people in other states, so that's not a problem
All
at all.
right. And when somebody wants to buy a home, there are a lot of check boxes that you need to fill in. But it's not that everything is 100%, correct with everybody in this world. There must be people, a lot of clients of
Right.
yours who must be falling, short of those check boxes. What do you do in those situations? How do you help them?
So the first step for anybody buying a home is to get a pre-approval. And when you get a pre-approval, I help you pull your credit, look at your financial situation, your job situation, your employment. Is it stable? What's your income? Are you, W-2 employee or are you self-employed? Certain times people don't know that their credit report has collections, or even the score does not qualify you for a conventional loan. Or and I'm able to provide that upfront so that if you're not ready today, we'll help you build your credit, help you save the money for a down payment and get you there 2 to 3 months or 6 months from now. Yes, but the first step for anybody is to know how much you can afford, and a pre-approval helps do that. Because if you can only qualify up to, say, 400, 500,000, we don't want you wasting the realtor's time or even your time looking at homes that are more expensive.
All right. But
You
you
should know
do
what you
make
can
sure that
afford. So,
irrespective if people are falling short of, ticking those check boxes, you do make sure there's a lot of hand holding that you must be doing, and you do make sure that, they are at that position that they are able to buy the dream home.
exactly. Anytime you sign a contract, you give a fairly large amount of earnest money and due diligence, and we don't want you to lose that money. If you cannot qualify for the home, we should let you know upfront. They say we give good news fast, but bad news faster. If you know you can't qualify, you don't have the credit requirements to meet, we let you know right away so that
Oh,
you're prepared.
that's a good thing. You don't keep them waiting as
Yeah.
such.
No, you got to set the right expectations, make sure everybody understands, and also to let them know what the breakdown would be. At a pre-approval, I also let them know this is what your expect monthly payment would be, which would include the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. And if it's the home is in a neighborhood or a subdivision, you'll have homeowners association dues. So we add all that up. We add their current other liabilities like car payments, Most people have auto payments. If there's any credit card debt, any student loans, anything that shows up on your credit report, they should know what to expect in terms of a monthly payment and their affordability.
All right. So that's a process of, if somebody's looking for a mortgage. Okay, now the deal is done. Everything is done. It's close. They're able to book their house. They're able to move in also. And you get that news. How does your day look after that? Like, are you in that like sigh of relief? Oh, thankfully, one more family
Yeah.
has a house. Or it's like, no, I need to get down on my job. I have somebody else waiting for me. So how does it feel for you?
Yep, we have to continuously not just close on the loans that we have, but also look for new ones. So for me, the three letters, clear to close, are always the best. And even better are the ones when they have signed. I make sure to go to as many closings as I can because that's a happy time. Everybody's happy. They get the keys to the home. They're moving in. And I always ask them that if I've provided good service to you, I really expect you to refer my name and my information to your family and friends who are looking to buy. And then we are always out there, looking for, because it's a commission based. I'm looking for more and more buyers whom I can help with the pre-approval and all. So yep, you're always out there looking for more
All right.
people shopping
So
around. Yeah.
it's like when somebody's bought, like, for example, do you ever had clients who've been like, coming back to you, maybe, buying two, three homes back to back? Has it ever happened with you?
Absolutely. I have somebody whom I've done 5 loans for, another one 3 to 4. Yeah.
Wow.
They bought their first home, the rates were a little higher, the rates improved. We did a refi. Then they said, okay, we're ready to buy our bigger home. I helped them with that. Then they bought 3 investment properties. So they know. And by the end of it, you become good friends. I have lots of friends,
Absolutely. That's,
new friends that I've made being in this business. Yeah.
oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Really nice to know that. Really nice. Okay. In case, people who
Exactly.
are listening to us right now, who are watching us right now, if somebody wants to contact you, what's the go-to number then?
Perfect. It's 919-592-3072.
We're going to add the same in the description box also. So in case somebody is looking to have the dream home, you can always get in touch with Rekhshan Hyder, and that's the dream number, I would say. All right, Rekhshan. So this was basically all about, I would say, your professional life. Now, I would like to know a little bit about your personal life as well. So you grew up in Saudi Arabia, and then you came to US.
I did.
Was it
Right.
like shifting different worlds altogether? How was the transition? Were you able to adjust, or did you had inhibitions? What was it like?
It's definitely a challenge. Like I said, Saudi Arabia did not have back then. I think things have changed now. We had everybody went to the same Indian school. Each city had a Indian embassy school, so all the kids went to that school, and that's how you knew everybody who was an Indian was in my school. We knew a lot of the teachers as our family friends, so we grew up there. And when it came time for further education, I really owe a lot to my parents. I had a sister and a brother who were in California, and they decided that that would be the best for me to come to California. So I was at California. I started at a community college there and then transferred to a 4 year college. It was a small liberal arts college called Menlo College. I graduated from there with a degree in biotechnology management,
Okay.
something very different than what I'm doing now. But I love the sciences. It was like a dual major with science and business.
Okay.
Really enjoyed my time in California, made friends. California is awesome. It gave me a sense of getting matured, growing up, a bit of a culture shock. Made became really independent because one of the things I learned in California was to be able to drive.
Oh,
Back then,
absolutely.
women in Saudi Arabia were not allowed to
Yeah.
drive. We did not drive in school.
Fortunately, now at least they are.
Yeah,
Fortunately, in today's world.
there,
But it's so tough to
exactly.
imagine, that there was a time that they were not allowed to drive. Not driving is a choice, but not being allowed to drive.
Allowed, right. So that was all great. It was a wonderful small school that really focused on making sure we excel at what we do. And then after I graduated, I met my husband, and he was in Cleveland, Ohio at the time. So I moved to Cleveland, Ohio. Loved it. That was a different part of our life where, we bought our home. We were able to buy a home for 128,000. It was a really nice single family, four-bedroom home. You know, a single family home for that much. It was awesome. We lived there for about 8 years and just could not get used to the
Okay.
snow. And it was time by then I'd had, yeah, we have four boys. Our oldest one is working, and then we have two other in college, and our youngest will start middle
Oh,
school this
you
year.
don't look like that, I should say.
So, yep, it's been. I know I've the mortgage business has given me a fair amount of white hair that I
Yeah, you've been adding and
and
subtracting a
wrinkles,
lot of
but yeah.
money, I guess. Okay, so Raksha,
It's
you have
yeah.
technically not grown up in India, although you do have Indian roots, right? So, what is that
Hmm.
part with which you connect? Because you technically not grown up, you haven't lived here much. So, how do you connect with India?
It's the culture that my parents taught me in Saudi Arabia, the language. We always spoke Hindi, Urdu at home. Went to the Indian school so I could read Hindi and Urdu. And just you have to have the strong roots to associate. And then for vacations, we used to go to India. I loved it. This the time that I've spent with family and my cousins over there growing up, getting into all sorts of things. The desi khana. Even my kids who born and brought up here love the desi khana. So I think you have to relate to a culture and just be rooted and be confident. I'm proud that I am an Indian person of Indian origin. And likewise, I have some family that had moved to Pakistan, so we got a chance to visit Pakistan too. And I think the best thing you could do for anybody or your kids is travel. We traveled a lot growing up. We would travel from Saudi Arabia to India and Pakistan, and then later on I came to the US. And there was one trip that my parents had taken where they took us all over Europe. It's amazing what you learn. I was quite young at that time, but um, whenever we can, I want to try to do the same. And we do travel a fair,
Amazing. So,
fair
anytime you
amount.
travel to
Yeah.
India, so what is the one thing that you never forget to get back from there? Like anything that you love so much that you like, if I'm visiting India or somebody else is there, get this for me. What's that one thing?
Indian clothes, mithai, achar.
Achar, yes.
There's so many things. Yeah, you should look at my suitcase when I return. Like anybody else, like any other Indian. Or while we are there, I think food is
Food is
food is
main.
main. The mithai, yeah. कोने वाली मिठाई की दुकान के समोसे, jalebi, simple things like that.
Awesome.
Doesn't
How
have to be
nice to
anything
hear that.
too
And I'm
fancy.
sure everybody
Yeah,
who's irrespective, their
yeah,
first generation, second generation, third generation, living abroad, but they still have this beautiful connect
mm,
with their homeland. And food is something that everybody just
yeah,
loves coming back to.
exactly. Food and clothes. I think our Indian clothes are just
Absolutely.
beautiful.
So before I let you go, so what is that one piece of advice that you would love to give to the new home buyer, somebody who's looking, for a consultation with you? One piece of advice. What's the homework they need to do before they get in touch with you? Is there something like that?
There is definitely be prepared mentally that you might not get the first home that you look at. It's all about supply and demand. It is a tough market here in Raleigh. There is a shortage of inventory, too many buyers and not enough homes. And the sticker shock that you're gonna get with the homes. But if you have a pre-approval, then you know what you can qualify, what the monthly payment would be, and just start shopping with a good realtor whom you have, and you should not be disappointed because you know what to expect. If you have the right expectations, you know where your down payment is coming from. That's important. Um, and if you're buying investment property, then things change. But for a primary home, you should have done your pre-approval and know exactly what your affordability is, what's your comfort level, and where you be looking. There are lots of areas, lots of growth around us. So if you have an idea of which part of neighborhood or where you want to be, then you have a better idea. I've helped a fair amount of clients in the Charlotte area as well, and they have similar challenges like we do over here. So it just helps to be pre-approved. Your credit is checked. You know where the source of down payment is, and the other important thing is your employment.
All right.
They need
So
to
I think
see,
this much
yeah,
is enough for everybody who's a new home buyer looking forward to buying their dream home, getting their family, settling into a beautiful nest. So I think this is something that everybody must be looking forward to.
exactly. And yeah, this approach, like I said, I'm with Movement Mortgage. We have wonderful programs. And the best thing that our company really looks for is
Pleasure talking to you.
same here. It's things like, I mean, I'm so thankful to you as well. It's the radio station and things like this that gives us nostalgia, brings us closer to India, and just kind of nice. It's always a mood changer if you can listen to pleasant music or listen to somebody talk. So thank you, Ev, so much for everything that you do for us and continue to do. And we really appreciate it as a community. It's wonderful.
Thank you so much.
And
Thanks a lot. Bye bye.
yeah, like I said, my name is Rekhshan Hyder. I'm with Movement Mortgage, and I could be reached at 919-592-3072. I look forward to hearing back